Hey guys, Brandon Woolum hanging out in Nashville today with our friend Natalie Layne. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. So you got a new album. We're going to get to that in a moment.
Yes.
But despite all the times we've hung out and been on camera, this is a brand new audience.
Crazy.
Some of these
Hi,
folks,
guys.
they may have seen your videos, they may have seen you on the road.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they know the Natalie Layne story. So let's give them like the 90-second version.
Okay. So I born and raised in Colorado. Love the mountains. I'm a mountain girl through and through. Was born and raised in the church. Amazing Christian family. Grew up playing piano in the church. I've played piano since I was like 3 years old. Like, I love it. It's still my favorite thing to do. And I had an experience with Jesus when I was 13. And kind of from that point forward, I was like, I want to make music for the Lord. So started writing songs. Most of them were so bad when I first started, you know. You don't want to hear those. Those are not the ones. But
Luckily, YouTube and stuff wasn't as big then.
it wasn't, which was very
we can't
good.
find them.
Yeah, unless like my dad likes to surface them every once in a while, you know what I mean? He would give them to you if you ever need anything like that. But yeah, just started writing songs. And then when it was time to go to college, I knew that I wanted to study music and theology. So I found a school called Belmont in Nashville, and that got me here. And I started meeting people, writing songs, and I've been here almost 8 years now, which is so crazy. I just signed my first record deal and released a record, and we're doing it.
Yeah, sitting here saying first record deal, debut album. Sounds pretty wild to me because we've been having you in here and chatting with you the past 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. You've been releasing batches of music here and there. You had an EP the last time you were here. Mm-hmm. Now we get the full-length album.
Yeah.
And I feel like every time we talk to you, it's like, well, we go down this credit list and there's all these names that you see. You got Benji on there. You've got Jeff Pardo.
Totally.
You've got a David Spencer. Mm-hmm. All these names that you see on the biggest arena Christian acts songs are all down every Natalie Layne song.
Yeah.
How does working with those names influence these 13 tracks that finally came out? Oh my
gosh. It's so much fun. It's fun to meet the people that, you know, you've listened to their songs forever and find that they're good people. You know what I mean? Like, they say not to meet your heroes, but in some cases you can, and it's good, you know? And there's a song on this record that I wrote with my friend Matthew West. And so that was another one that was like, you know, I don't know, but then we get in the room and it's like such a great thing, and just to write songs with them has been a real gift. Yeah.
With you, and we talked a little about your story there. Mm-hmm. You've played music all your life.
Yes.
You've studied music for years. You have a master's in music.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And here in Nashville,
I like don't even believe it myself. Yeah.
Hanging out with so many of these guys and girls here in Nashville, a bunch of them dropped out of college, didn't do music the right way. We're very self-taught with all this stuff. Mm-hmm. When you go into these writing rooms and these studio sessions with those kind of people and your knowledge of, you know it how the book says to do it.
Yeah.
These folks know how to do it, how they learned before YouTube even had instructions. Are there challenges to that? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I'm always just reminded that there's no like right way. Like, they have also been taught a lot, but they've just taught themselves, you know, or literally YouTube has taught them, or they've learned just as they go, and they're also brilliant. And so I actually think our different studies help us when we come together. And that's why I love collaborating with people so much, because you just have like a deeper well of a lot of different ideas and styles and stuff. And so I've actually loved it. It's been really great to have like the different ways of thinking, you know?
Yeah, you got the book smart and the street smarts.
Love it. That's right. And we need that. We need both.
Yeah, so as we look through the credits on this album, we see your name there as a producer too. And I think like with you didn't just put your name there because you were in the room. It sounds like you actually did some producing.
I produced those songs. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So talk to us about that. Like, I saw you put some strings together. Like,
totally.
I mean, I see artist names as producers all the time, and I talk to them. They're like, "Well, I was just in the room." That wasn't the case with Natalie Layne.
No. Yeah, I've been producing for a long time. I remember like being a teenager and I was learning how to produce in GarageBand, you know, and then it turned into Logic. And so these programs that I used to produce, and I still like produce some of my own demos and stuff. And that's usually as far as I take it. But with these, I've kind of been learning that I'm best as a producer in like a live setting. And so if we're ever doing anything live, I usually produce that. And so, yeah, we got a bunch of strings together at Warner Studios, and it was just a blast to have everybody in the room. I love that kind of music making as well. Just like real musicians in a real studio together making music in real time, like, is so special and rare these days. And I want to make music like that. So Yeah, it was so cool. And just to be there with like really awesome engineers and be able to kind of direct that process. I think sometimes people don't know what a producer even does. You know what I mean? But Jeff Pardo always says it's like the director of a movie. Like that's kind of how you have to think of it. Like they're seeing everything and kind of just putting it all together. So I loved it. I think I 3 tracks on this record that I produced, and it just was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something we've learned from listening to your music these past years, the lyrics always are well thought out, a little deeper than some folks. So, I mean, obviously there were some songs on this album that people didn't get to hear that you were really looking forward to people getting and listening to closely, not just letting it run through.
Yeah.
What was the song on this one that you couldn't wait for people to hear and say,
Yeah.
if they have, go back, give it a deeper listen because you might have missed a few Easter eggs.
Yeah, I think it's a song called The Long Way that I've been sitting on for a while. You know, those songs that are just like, maybe you wrote it 2 or 3 years ago and you're like, I just can't wait for people to hear this. Yeah. That's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. And it's a really deep song. I think you can hear that lyric a little bit more easily because it's a slower song. There's time to like digest it, you know? But there are also songs on the record that are very like upbeat and go by quickly that I think you have to like step back and kind of listen to. And I wanted my songs to be like that. Like I think sometimes when people write like upbeat, joyful songs, like it's just like a la 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 happy little lyric. But I wanted there to be depth in those too. And I love when there's like a deep lyric and a happy vibe. When those going together makes me happy. That. Yeah.
So a lot of years lead up to this first album, a lot of songs obviously written for it. How did you narrow down which 13 were finally going to make this record? And how many songs were there that actually made it to the final stretch where you're considering it?
So I wrote for a little bit over a year for this record, and we wrote like 150 songs. Wow. So I don't know that I'll ever do it like that again, but we wrote a lot of songs. And I'm so thankful now to have a team to help me decide. But I find that the ones that usually make it are the ones that I just want to keep listening to. Like I go back to, I'm like, no, like I think if this wasn't my song, I would still think it was a good song. Like I would still want that to be out in the world. So I think just over time, it's been really good for us to give it time and see what songs kind of stick with us and what songs do we think might make a difference for people. And it's cool to have a team kind of talk through that with me.
Yeah, with that many songs left over, what do you do with them? Do they just go into the vault, you revisit them later, or do you pitch them to other artists, or is there a volume 2 coming up?
Yeah, some of all of that. I think, some of these songs you don't want to hear. You really don't. And it's not that they're bad at all. It just was a different direction than we were going for or whatever. So some of them are easy, like, no, that's okay. It just kind of goes into Song Mountain and it can stay there. Some of them we pitched to other artists, and I've had some really fun songs come out by other artists this year, and that's been cool. And then for sure, like some of them will resurface on other projects and things. A lot of it is about where a song fits on a project. And this one was all about joy. And so that's kind of what we leaned into for this one, and we'll see about the next one. So you never know.
Yeah, and on this project, still a little different styles from song to song, too. You're getting to work in a lot of stuff. Are you matching a certain type of song with a certain producer on this album?
A lot of the time, the person who produces it is one of the writers in the room. And that I feel like that's typical of Christian music. Like, one of the people in the room will usually be a really great producer. So if they've already done the demo and stuff, they'll just take it through to the end. But there are a couple songs, like probably the biggest song on this record so far is called Grateful For. And that we just wrote in a room. And then I was like, no, I need this other guy to produce it. Like, he'd be so good for it. So Dave Spencer did that one and just crushed it. And so it depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you put out an album like this, somebody like you, you're regularly writing, you're regularly playing pitch meeting and stuff here in town, pitching songs. So now what happens with all these songs you're writing? Because you have a full album out now.
Yeah.
You have to promote.
Yeah.
You have songs that you're ready to put on an album right now, I'm sure, in your head.
Sure. Yeah.
What's it like being in that mindset right now? Because it's the first time you've actually had to be in that mindset. Now you have an album that's only been out a week or two.
Yeah. It's honestly so fun. Like, you wait for your record to come out forever. And then once it's out, you're like, I've lived with these songs for a long time. It's so fun for people to finally hear them. And so it's interesting. We're trying to just get every song into the hands of the people who need it, you know, and it's cool that different songs like resonate with different people. But of course in my head, I'm already working on the next thing, you know. I'm so excited about what's coming next and just to see where it all goes. Cause I think that's one of the things when you release a project, you're like, you just have no idea what's going to happen with it, like, and who it might get to. And so you just say a prayer over it and release it into the world. Like it is really a release of like, I don't know, but we'll see what happens with
and
it.
you pray these folks will go stream it so the royalties can come into the label.
Go guys.
And they know that
be blessed by the songs.
yeah,
Okay.
Centricity can put out album number 2.
We would love it. Yeah.
Throughout all of these songs you've been writing over the years, you've kind of brought the fans in with it. Social media has always been a big part of your career.
Yeah.
Are there times where you post these raw songs online and then based on comments or reactions, you go back in and you're like, maybe they were right. Maybe I should do it this way.
For sure. Yeah. That's how I started too. Like when TikTok came out, I remember just like starting to post little clips of the songs I was writing and really asking people like, do you like this? What should the chorus do after this? You know, and it became like a giant online co-write, you know, like people were just weighing in what they thought of the songs. And so it's still kind of like that. Like while I'm writing, I'll post things that I'm writing in real time. I don't care to wait till it's out, you know. I just feel like people need to be brought into the process. So on this record, that song called Grateful For was a song we didn't think we were going to put out, and I posted it and people were like, we need this, you know. So that was like a specific one that really made the record because of the internet, because of people just wanting it. So they definitely influence things more than they probably think.
Yeah, and you're one of these artists who isn't afraid to just set a camera at the piano, play, and sometimes the piano's over your vocals, you're not mic'd up. You're like, this is the raw vocal of Natalie Layne, where some artists maybe just lip sync all their videos. So I like that too. It's cool to get that inside personal touch there.
Totally. I think that people want that genuine spirit, you know, 'cause we tried it a lot of ways. I've tried miking it up perfectly and people actually don't like that as much.
And the algorithms don't like it either.
Yeah. So we'll take it because I just get to throw up my phone and be like, this is just real, you know, and I think that people have grown to like that. So
yeah, well, folks can get you on the road here again soon. I mean, it's like next week or
next week,
right?
we start. Yeah.
Like this is the second leg of this tour, the Invited Tour?
Yes. We did a whole long tour last fall and now we're doing it again in the spring.
Yeah. So with 10th Avenue North, so now you kind of know what to expect. And I think I saw videos. You have a full band out here with you.
I will play with their band. So with 10th Avenue North. So yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It'll be cool.
So those tour dates are over on the website, which is it NatalieLayne.com or Natalie Layne Music?
NatalieLayne.com or 10thavenuenorth.com.
Yeah, any of it.
Yeah.
All right. And go stream the album. All Joy is out there on all your streaming services now.